Filipinos, probably the number one thing is they avoid confrontation. So everybody's Australians here. So in Australia, we're a lot more direct. We'll sit down and like I noticed you didn't get this task done. Why not? Tell me, but Filipinos are more like around and around. You can't directly, because they'll really get ashamed, and I'll get to that in a minute. So it's much more indirect and polite. They're very, very polite. So it all goes back to the very Asian, long time cultural thing about saving face. So I have this thing that I've come up with Philippine culture. It's about fame and shame. When they do something great, post it on Facebook, Instagram, show the world how good they are, but do not shame them. If there's anything you need to work on with your staff, make sure it's done softly, indirectly, one-on-one, certainly not in front of the team meeting or anything like that, and work on that privately. And I'll talk a little bit in a few minutes about different ways to make sure they can save face. Probably the biggest tip I'll give you today is in communication is about those of you who've got Filipino staff members, one of the things that always drove me crazy, might drive you crazy, is when you're talking to them or you send them a task and you'll often say, do you have it? You got it? Do you understand? And anybody with Filipino experience, what's the answer? They always say yes, right? Always. There is no, because they don't want to be, they want to please you. They always want to please you, and they don't want to give you an answer that they think that you might not like. They don't want to be ashamed that they don't understand. But a way to restructure that, and this is not just a gimmick, this is actually the true thing, is that if you can restructure that question to put the shame on you, something like, is there anything that I didn't explain well enough to you? So that gives them the opportunity to say, yes, sir, you didn't explain it. It's on you. And so it puts the shame back on you, and then you can address the issue. So if there's one takeaway from today, restructure, is there anything I didn't explain well enough? It's a huge one. Then you'll get it. Well, you'll get a yes, but it means no, I didn't understand. So be also clear and concise. Just because you've got the clear task in your head that you need to do, it really needs to be very concise. And I like to see, if you're not using which you're in systems, if you're not using a project management tool like Asana or Teamwork or something, get that down. So you put the project or the task in there, but then it's best so you're discussing it all, in your project management system, but it's best to have a quick summary voice to voice. Like if you're having a huddle in the morning, just have them quickly tell you what the task is that you're expecting them to do, just so you know they've really got it. It makes a big difference. I got a story about how I screwed this up a few years ago. Here in the Philippines, they're very big on burning the way. I know when I grew up in the 70s and 60s, we had backyard incinerators and we're always burning. Well, here everything's burning. They clean up their trash and their leaves, and so smoke's everywhere. So one day, my next door neighbor, who I get along with great, he was burning. Oh, screensaver, there we go. He was burning and the wind was blowing and all this toxic plastics and everything were blowing right into my house. So I went over to him and said, excuse me, the smoke's just really blowing into our house. I said, would you mind putting out the fire and digging a hole and putting all this trash and leaves and refuse in the hole? And he's like, oh yeah, sure, sorry. So a minute later, he's coming out, he puts the buckets on the fire and puts out the fire, and then he gets his sons to come over and they're digging a big hole, and now we've got all this wet refuse in there, and they dig a big hole and they put all the refuse in the hole, and then lights it back on fire again. Right? I didn't specifically ask to bury I just said put in a hole, because I'm thinking put it in a hole, that means bury it, but he didn't see it that way. So a real good example of make sure they understand what's expected of them. And confirm, at your huddle, have them tell you back what you're expecting them to do. Yeah, you've got it. Provide regular feedback. It's back to the fame. We all do. It's human nature. Great job. You did that perfectly. Thanks. You did that exactly how I expected it. And when you do that, if you've got a larger team or more than one person, tell them that positive feedback in the group, because then their friends get to hear what a great job they did.
I hope you enjoyed that clip. Just a heads up, it was a snippet taken from the Business Systems Accelerator program, which is the world's first training for systems champions to help you build a systems-driven organization. If you'd like to find out more about the program, head over to systemology.com/BSA, and I'll see you in the next video.